Jeeps, Dodges, Rams, and Stellantis in general in full of hot water.
In fact, Stellantis posted a 21% drop in second quarter in U.S. sales.
And they just decided to kill the previous model. We're not represented in it any longer.
A strike will cripple this company.
These seem drastic drops in sales in this last quarter, where we're talking about 20% down. Certain models we're seeing 19%, other models we're seeing 30%, and other models closer to 6 to 9%. The point is, many of these models are poorly selling, and days inventory is rising at an alarming rate. It's getting so bad, in fact, with the cost of living crisis, less people are buying. The cost of these vehicles is going up, and it's at a point where Stellantis is struggling to keep the lights on, and they're actually allegedly engaging UAW in a lawsuit due to the impacts that it could have in the operations and sales of some of their modern vehicles.
The problem is this man, Carlos Tavares.
With sales faltering since 2022, prices have seen continued increases. With one of the worst selling SUVs, we see the Dodge Hornet. We see the Rams, the 3/4 ton and 1 ton trucks are not selling very well, and they're heavily incentivized just to get them moving. Even cars like this are becoming obsolete, and the transition to electrification has some of the hardcore customers not wanting to buy another Dodge Charger or Challenger. And then sadly, with the day supply on the rise and Rams being one of the worst with absolutely double the industry average of 77, we're seeing 145, 150, 180 days supply on your average Ram truck. And really, of that should come of no surprise when we're looking at a Dodge single rear wheel like this, and we have a price tag. How much is this? Looking at $109,000 for this truck. No insignificant amount of money, and a lot of buyers are running out of cash quickly. With interest rates rising and they're holding steady, even with 20, 50, even with the 50 basis point cut recently by the Fed, it's not enough to get people out there spending their hard-earned dollars. And now Stellantis is bringing back an initiative called the Doghouse. The Doghouse is intended to actually restrain costs, hold back non-essential costs and car and parts purchasing. While they did say that they are going to continue on and continue paying existing POs, work orders, and purchases, the Doghouse is intended to really look deep, dark into the financial end of the business and make sure that no unexpected, unnecessary expenditures are going out, because they believe, Stellantis and executives believe, that there are some significant savings available by watching the pennies save the dollar. And unfortunately, this fall, Stellantis has said they're closing down the Belvedere plant, or a good majority of it. They're going down to idle mode, where they planned to shed about 2,450 workers, which they still continue planning on doing. Unfortunately, that means 2/3 of the output of that facility is going bye-bye, because they plan to eliminate the Ram Classic, which was one of the most price point cost-effective pickup trucks. Clearly an indication that they want to continue selling the higher price point vehicles and make a much larger margin. But unfortunately, UAW doesn't get on board with that.
I hope that we can show Stellantis that we're for real, and that we stand beside each other, and we support each other, and we're willing to do whatever it takes for them to uphold their end of the bargain, of the contract.
They're alleging that Stellantis is reneging on the contract that they had written up with the union contract that was renewed a couple of short years ago, where they promised to continue on with full production at all of their facilities. Now, after the fact, clearly with the layoffs coming, with 2,450 workers looking at trying to find a new job, the union alleges that Stellantis isn't holding up their end of the bargain. And Stellantis is kicking back and saying, trying to draw up a lawsuit to push back and say they do believe they have a case, and feel that instead of throwing stones in a glass hut, we should all just work together and try to make success out of this business. But I personally know somebody on the inside at GM, at not this dealership, but a dealership, that has told me that the struggles are real. Stellantis, they can't sell their vehicles. And quite honestly, looking at the classifieds, I found numerous 2022 model years. So lot rot is real. And all of these vehicles that are building inventory are at risk of sitting for 2, 3, and 4 years if they're not sold. And as they age and lot rot kicks in, tires start to age. They're only good for 8 or 9 years. Of course, batteries start to deteriorate. Fluids should be changed once a year. And lot rot does show a natural deterioration. You want to get a current generation model year. As they sit longer and longer, the value of them should go down. But even if they do sell, which clearly they're not, they need to be highly discounted for it to even be worth your trouble. And I had numerous viewers reach out and say, you know what, with the price of some of these vehicles, the Compass is a great example. We've seen them go as much as $55,000 with their special editions here. When I've had customers reach out, or people reach out to me, viewers, and say, behind scenes email me and say, look, I can't even believe these Jeeps cost as much as they do, and as a result, I'm just gonna go with a Toyota or Honda. They used to be more expensive, but now you're getting more reliability, and why would I even take a chance on that? And that's part of the problem, is the quality control as well. A lot of the Jeeps like this have had problems. Of course, the plug-in hybrid versions with potential risk of fire, so those have been told to keep outdoors and not park inside until that recall is taken care of. But as a result of this cash consumption this year, by the end of 2024, Stellantis is expecting to have gone from $6 to about $11 billion. That's right, they have a shortcoming of about $4.4 billion that they're trying to make up, and as a result, they're saying, you know what, we need to stop production. There's too many of these vehicles on the lot already. I mean, the lot is just piling up and up and up, and these vehicles are not selling. So to add to the fuel to the fire, they're actually having to halt production or slow up 200,000 units less of production just to try to get caught up, just because the day supply is so high across the industry and across the entire marketplace that if they continue to produce vehicles at the rate they are doing today, they're going to have piles and piles and piles of vehicles. And remember, that video that I made, where do vehicles go that don't get sold? You definitely want to see that at the end. I'll link that in for you. But at the end of the day, Stellantis is struggling with vehicle sales. I mean, the entire industry is hurting right now, and all manufacturers are struggling and finding ways to incentivize. But there are a few manufacturers that are selling vehicles. We're still seeing Hondas, Toyotas, most Lexus vehicles, as well as even Mitsubishi are having great years so far. So it's clearly an indication that vehicles that are priced accordingly will sell. So unfortunately, Jeeps that cost $73,000, no matter how great they are, or no matter how much great features and great paint schemes they have on them, just don't provide the value, and less and less and less buyers are finding the need or want to go out and buy a lot of these high-priced vehicles. We're going to start seeing incentives. As well as I've checked on the classified, we're seeing the Fiat 500e as part of the Stellantis team as well pretty much stop production entirely, and a lot of their vehicles are getting trimmed off by a third in an effort to just try to incentivize people to come in and buy their vehicles. They're trimming, I've seen vehicles as much as 20, 30, 40% off of their original sticker just to get people to get in the door and buy these vehicles that have been overpriced for the last 2 years. So a Dodge Durango like we have right here, $81,000. I never thought I'd ever see a Durango cost that kind of money, and that's the clear indication. Prices are too high. You charge respective money, you charge according to what you're getting, and people can recognize value add with quality, cost. That's what people have been looking for, and that's the key indicator why these vehicles are not selling and inventories piling up. And now unfortunately Stellantis finds themselves in a world of hurt. But with all of that said, check out that video. Where do these vehicles actually go if they're not selling? We're seeing 22s, 23s, and 24s on the lot, and the 25 allocations are starting to come out now. Hope to see each and every one in the next one. See you real soon. Bye-bye.